Sorry about that. We had to use that intro music because I've misplaced a video on the hard drive. What are we going to be talking about today, Matt? Because we missed last week for one reason or the other, and there's been a hell of a lot of stuff happening at Payaca HQ over the last 2 weeks. But let's just focus today on the exciting use of Payaca pages. Okay, a little bit of a background on this. We are up at our place building out a new website to dominate the city, the good city of Sheffield. Our web guy was here just on Tuesday, where I've asked him to build out a customer contact form on our landing page, and the very next day, Matt's team at Payaca introduced Payaca pages. So fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing how we can automate and how we can get these customer leads to just drop straight into the deals, so we don't have to double entry data. It's just there, it just works, and we can just follow up with the customer. So Matt, do you want to give a little bit more detail about what Pages is? I know that you have done your own video on Pages, but for the heating community, what's going to be so big about getting Pages for PHA?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've been talking about for a while, because the intention behind Payaca is to have a product that covers the whole customer journey. So that is right from the lead coming into your pipeline all the way through to delivery of that service, managing your team to deliver that, and then integration with your accounting software, and then repeat business. So it's all about that. But there was one key part of that journey that we didn't have, which was, how do you get data when your customer sends it to you to say, can you help me? So if you've got a great website set up and you're capturing some data there, how can I feed that directly into my pipeline? So there were things that people were doing already with third-party form services, and then linking that up with Zapier. Great, but wouldn't it be better if we could make it super easy for you to have a customizable form that directly integrated with Payaca, that allowed you to tag it in whatever way you want, that allowed you to essentially capture that data at the start of the customer journey when they first interact with you, and that's the reason behind Pages. And we've kind of offered a couple of different options. One is to say, look, I haven't got onto it yet, or I'm not that tech savvy, or I don't have a great website, or even I'll do that later. Is, hey, just generate a page that's got your logo on, that's super simple, that you can just link to, send to a customer, and they can, that could just be linked from a call to action on your website. They fill in the details, great, straight in, you get notified, new customer lead has been generated. Or if you want to take a more advanced route, then you can embed that page within your own website, and you can customize it around the look and feel of your brand. So it's a really simple one, really, but it is all about us, having a solution that allows you to manage the entire customer journey.
This is it. What I want, what we want for our business, is to use the least amount of software, to use the least amount of screens, to have the least amount of human error, of not picking up on something, and try to maximize our time input. So to get all the leads from whichever customer type into one place, that's the end goal. Obviously, people that are using other forms of marketing, the leads might not be able to get onto the front of Payaca to start with, but the easiest win surely has to be, what customers have come via your website, can we get that customer lead into Payaca? Now, I just want to share, and as you can hear, I'm a little bit croaky from the last couple of weeks. I just want to share where we're at with our new website that's in development. So as you can see, boiler service in Sheffield. These are all the same product at the same price because it's in development. Oh my screen's just gone a little bit smaller.
Press
Um,
Control Z.
but if we just pop down that page, which I still have to fill out what is on each of them service products. Right down the bottom, this is the first version of a form. Okay, it's done in WordPress. There's lots of little plugins that you can get for WordPress. I'm not too sure which one our developer has used, but it's nice and simple. A little bit of pre-qualification. I'm kind of imagining that a customer has maybe just found a website, or they want to call us outside of hours, find that we're not available to pick up the phone, and then they come across this form. For us, pre-qualification, are you an existing customer? We want to know right off the bat, have we been in this property? Do we have any details on this customer? Do you have a combi boiler? I've seen there's a question from Matt Baker on that. The quickest way to say this for you, Matt, why are we asking that? Do you have a combi boiler? Because I've learned that people that have a combi boiler kind of understand that they've got a combi boiler, and all the other terminologies of different types of boiler, whether we have a gravity, whether we have a regular, whether we have a heat only, whether we have a system boiler, it gets a little bit confusing for the customer. But generally, if they have a combi boiler, they know it, yes or no. Approximate age of the boiler, we're trying to get to the bottom here of what are we signing up for. If this is not a customer that we've been serving for the last few years, are they asking us to go and service one of them 15-year-old boilers that doesn't really need a service? It's broken. Okay, so I'll not go through everything. That's just a little bit of pre-qualification and grabbing the relevant information from the customer so that we can contact them back. This would normally, once a customer has pressed send, this would normally drop via an email into into an email box that you would set up specifically to pick up this customer. But I'm kind of imagining that Payaca is going to make that much easier for us. So Matt, over to you, buddy. Tell us how we can use Payaca pages to automate this.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to the top right here, click the little drop down and click on My Pages.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you're going to configure this. Now, we've started simple, hopefully inoffensive questions that are not customized to your specific example that you shared there, but we can totally do that in the next iteration.
Yep.
What you can do here is two things. Like I described, you can either create a link to this page, which I'll then grab and I can send to you. You can fill it in, and we'll see if the deal comes through, or get the code snippet, which if you're technical, you can put on your own website. If you work with a web developer, you can send to them, and they can just embed it. And then that will all, you can make that look and feel like your brand. So I can change the color of all of this, the like field spacing, or like field padding, border thickness, color, corner rounding, all of that. So we can basically make that look how you want. Let's just go back to the page section. I'm just going to choose a different color. It's also got a little capture there, so that should reduce anything programmatically spamming your website. It should catch that out, which is quite important. You don't want your pipeline full of rubbish. So I'm going to create a page, and I want to put this on the installs page of my website. So I'm basically going to tag everything that comes through this form as an install, which means it will go into the install pipeline. You can create as many different versions of this as you want. Each time you copy it, it will give you a different code or a different URL. So you can have those different pages that could be tagged in a different way. And soon you'll be able to actually customize like the inputs here. Let's grab this one. So I've just copied this page. What I can do now is, well, do you want me to send it to you, or shall I fill it out myself?
Um, yeah, please fill it out
Go on, fill it
yourself
out.
there.
Right. So I've just gone to that page. So I'm the customer now. This could be embedded in your website, but my name is Tom. Oh, for some reason. Um, Tom Lee Muda. Great. My email, let's just say it's tom@payaca.com. And let's just make up a phone number. Right. Obviously, we can ask for much more detail here. I'm going to say I'm not a robot, and I'm going to send it. Cool, thanks. Your details have been added successfully. You're going to get an email now to say, oh, you've got a new lead. Great. I'll go back to my deals pipeline. Here we can see it's right there. That is the details that I just filled in just then. Note from customer, please install a combi boiler for me. Deal's been created. I've got the contact details that's gone into new lead. It's in the install pipeline. It's tagged as install. So if I were to go back here and I was to say that I just want to look at actually, yeah. So I haven't actually created an install pipeline. If I had have already created an install pipeline, it would be in there. What's that
I
called?
was missing how that tag came about. I'm sorry, we went through quite fast there. So customer
There we go.
fills it in. You get an automated email to say, hey, a customer has just filled in X form.
Yeah.
How did they get tagged?
Because when I created the form on the page here, I said I want that to be tagged as installs. So basically, you've got a list of all of your tags that you've created. The one thing I hadn't done in that account was create an installs pipeline,
So
which I
yeah,
then created
so
retrospectively.
what this actually means, and I did ask you this question just yesterday on the group. We can have several different forms, yeah, and then this particular form is on this particular page, like the page that I was just showing you was a service boiler service page. So the fact that that form is there, we've then said anybody that fills in this form will be tagged boiler service, boiler install,
Yeah, so let's
purple.
just show you a quick example of that. So I've created a service pipeline there. So now if I go to pages, probably going to have to refresh this. I can create a link to page and I can say, I want this to be serviced, and that's there because I just created it. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to that one. I'm using that link, and this is going to be Matt F at payaca.com. Number, I want a service. Cool, I'm not a robot. Great, send that. That's been successfully added. Come back over to my pipeline. Cool, service, Matt F. That's there. That's got my contact details. I want a service. So you can have as many of those forms as you want. You could have that as a page that you can send out to people, or you can embed it on your own website.
Epic. Just to clarify that, I want a boiler installation form. I want a boiler service form. I want a service plan form. I want a aircon form. I want a heat pump form. I want a boiler repair form. Whatever form we want, we can have numerous different forms. That means, as we've pointed out a few weeks ago, we can set different customer journeys for each customer needs. And the fact that just by having this technology there, which will automatically tag them and start the customer in the right place, it's just automation.
Yeah.
Without knocking automation down, it's really, really, really important. Because one thing, I think a lot of people in the early days, when you're busy, but how many customers are you actually serving? You're just busy, um, serving less customers. But the more our business builds, the better our marketing gets. The more customers we're going to be dealing with, and you really have to think. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, half an hour there, compound effect over the course of a year times 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. How much time is going into it? So putting that time into getting your system in check now, it's only going to pay you off in the future. So this is
Also,
epic.
also having it all in the one system as well, and
Mm,
there's if you string together a number of different services, it could break at any time. You have to keep an eye on things. Can be slow, like if one thing goes down, it's like it slows everything down. Whereas this is like, I mean, as you saw in those examples, it's absolutely instant. You don't have to worry about managing anything, setting things up in a complex way. It's really simple to just grab it and go. And that's really the thing that we focus on, is making that simple for you, because as a business owner, you've got hundreds of things to worry about, and setting up your systems is super important. But if we can make it easier, then that's absolutely what we're there for.
Epic. So just one last question before we knock this one on the head. Two questions actually. First one, when will we be able to edit the questions that we're asking?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get something done in the next couple of weeks on that. Yeah, that obviously that's an important part of it.
Hmm.
I can't give you an exact date, but
And
we'll do our
will
best here.
that be something that the Payaca users are editing themselves? It's not really going to be a service that the Payaca team does on a one by one
Yeah,
situation.
so, I mean, the tricky part there is that obviously there are things that you want to map to specific fields. So, the field exists in Payaca, you want that data to go in there. And then there are
Yeah.
like free text fields, and it's like, okay, we can add a bunch of stuff to a note, but like creating custom fields is maybe another level of complexity
Hmm.
beyond that. Now, as we're developing this, as with everything, people on the Packer Heating Accelerator are given the chance to help shape this. So yeah, we're not saying we're there like creating all these like custom things for you, and we can't promise that. But to be honest, we are doing a lot of that just with people on the accelerator, because we know it's gonna help us shape the product for everyone, but also deliver that extra level of value to people who have come in early and are really getting involved and giving us feedback.
Getting some good feedback so far. Okay, next big question as we're trying to wrap this up in 20 minutes. Um, a lot's gone on for the last 2 weeks. What's around the corner? What's next on Team Payaca's agenda?
Yeah, there's a big thing that we're working on that you might have seen. Obviously, we've just released automation, and we've just been in the last couple of weeks as well, releasing some iterations on that to make that simpler, to make it yeah like really it could be way more powerful. There could be more actions that we have on the back of triggers created. We've just cleared up this menu, so it's a bit simpler, more organized. But one thing anyone eagle-eyed may have spotted is there's this little drop down on items. So within items now, we have released this. You can't do much with it on its own, but we're all about like quick iteration here. So you can add suppliers. So you can go in here and you can add supplier name, supplier email, contact details, all that, website. Now, materials is what we're working on next. So you'll be able to link multiple materials to items, and then materials to suppliers, all with a route to getting to the point where you can generate a purchase order off the back of a customer order. So when a customer say accepts a quote, we can then automatically generate a purchase order that we can send to suppliers, or you could use internally. It also will allow us to do much more powerful like profitability calculations, which is really a view to getting to that point where you're able to really, really nail down who is my most profitable customers, and yeah, there's lots of analysis you can run around that. So purchase orders is a big feature that we're working on in a very iterative way. And the other big thing that we're working on at the moment, alongside if we haven't got enough big things there, is the ability to break down invoices. So set up stage payments. There's a much better way of, say, generating an invoice when a deposit payment comes in, and then like breaking down multiple invoices. If you're doing boiler installs and services, probably not that important to you. But any kind of bigger jobs where yeah, you do need to get that money in stages. That's really important that you can break down invoices.
A lot.
There's a lot. Yeah.
A lot is
Um,
on the agenda. Very good, very good. Okay, Matt. Thank you very much for just filling us in on that. I look forward to working with you about trying to get a little bit more detail into that form. Obviously, the big thing that we've been working on in Built to Last for the last couple of weeks is service plans. It's what I'm trying to get working on this website. We'll get that in place, and then I guess, well, once that's in place, it's, well, how can we then tweak that form for the start of a different customer journey? Oh, note on this. One of the members I was speaking to earlier today was talking about aircon, which obviously is another string to Payaca's bow. Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, Matt.
Also,
More?
sorry,
Yes.
what are we doing in June? We're going to an event in June, aren't we?
Of course.
Should tell people about that.
Yes.
Installer show.
For 3 days. I think we need
3
to
days. 3 days. 3 days.
Uh-huh.
It's yeah, anyone who wants to come and chat to us, yeah, we'll be at the installer show for 3 days at the NEC in Birmingham, 21st to the 23rd of June.
Will they get any free goodies?
Be there. Yeah, there's some cool merch. Well, yeah, we'll be doing yeah,
Can
we'll
we
be doing
play
lots.
darts?
Doing lots.
Should we bring a dartboard?
In the show, I think that might get shut.
I've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at another show and they brought that really, really famous British dart player in that I don't know the name of because I'm not into darts. But I had a game of darts with him and I nearly did really, really, really well.
Nearly did really well.
I was so close, yeah. And I don't play darts, so I don't know who he was, but he was famous.
Yeah.
He'd got gold chains all over him.
Okay.
So if he can do it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure Team Payaca can.
I'm sure there's lots of things we could do.
Axe throwing out in the car park.
Axe throwing, yeah, I have done axe throwing actually. It's
I did it a couple of weeks ago on Stag.
Did you?
Yeah, I was really good with axes and bows. I was no good with the tomahawk one though. Absolutely useless. Anyway, sidestepping. Next week we'll be back into the flow of it next Thursday, I believe. In the meantime, we're just working on PHA, trying to get PHA to the point that we can officially launch it, and working on something extra special for the installer show.
We've got a few spaces left on the accelerator free offer as well.
There's been more on it this week, so yeah, there's not going to be many more spaces left for that free offer. Right, Matt, I will have to jump on for it's the school run time. Thank you very much for dropping in, and we'll see you next week.
Cool. Cheers.